Hello, everybody. Welcome to Comic Core Unlimited. I'm your host, JD, and I'm real excited to bring on today's show. Today's show is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of good times. I'm going to hand it off to my man, John's Comics with Kids, to bring it out. And his shirt says gone too soon, but he is not. John?
Gone too soon, meaning we're back now, though.
We're back.
I had to get this shirt because of our host who's coming on later. It's the man, the myth, the legend we will see a little bit later because this shirt always makes me think of him. I can't hear Gone Too Soon. I hear his voice. But let me shout out some folks in our chat real quick because we got Caleb Murphy was in here before we even started. That's pretty awesome. And then, of course, Comic Core Chad in here. Thank you, brother. Master Don, thank you. And then our own crew here, Spectre and Misexplained are in there. Daniel Ybarra's in there. High Road Comics, which used to be, now I just watched his video. High Road Comics was formerly
Comic Chief.
Comic Chief.
Right.
So make sure you guys follow High Road Comics if you haven't already. Very appreciated to see that video, why he was not necessarily rebranding himself. TJ the Slab Dragon is here, and brother, your book that you sent me right here on display, and it looks like JD might have something to share.
I have my dragon somewhere. I moved them all off the shelf. Moved the dragon.
DK Comic Cosplay is in here. Chad, 90 Miles from Comics. Big Lion Cat. Discovery Bay, thank you for discovering us. And Comic Books NYC and Kachung, thank you, Perry Comics. We have a great show tonight. I'm going to run through our cast of characters here this evening. Comic Spectre, how you doing, man? You recovered now from that? You've had a week now since you were back in training, right?
Yeah, I'm actually doing good. Since I've been back, I've actually gotten back into the gym full time, and so that's great. I'm actually getting caught up on some of my reading. I did that poster I showed you earlier. I got that framed up, man. It's just been real busy. All good things, though. Great things.
Yeah, that poster is stunning. You want to share it real quick, or do you want to save it for later?
Yeah, we can save it for later. We got a lot to go over.
Comics Misexplained. How are you doing, Jason?
Good, homie. Yeah, it's glad to be here. Another weekend.
Were you able to read some books? Power through some things. I know you got a busy
dude.
Tuesday leading into this morning.
Dude, it was been insane because I work for like a record label and vinyl distributor, so just like building up for record store day was just intense, and then record store day was just crazy insanity. We had like shows, and then the next day the cleanup job, there's empty kegs and just beer everywhere. So it's been a madhouse nonstop, plus stores that order vinyl, so it's like packing up orders, and it's just been mayhem. And then today I work with like a concert promotional group, and we had a show that was happening tonight. I had to tell those guys, like, I'm sorry, I can't. So I chose you guys over over that tonight.
Respect.
Yeah. Oh, dude, had to, man. Had to hold down the homies. But yeah, man, been very busy. So I read a little bit, and we'll go over that later on. So.
And how about you, JD? You've had a lot of shows going on lately. You've been a super busy guy. You had any time?
Yes. I went to the shop today, picked up some stuff. I had a dentist appointment that I was getting a crown put in, and the crown was the wrong color because my teeth are whiter than the crown came back. So they were like, we need to fix that. So I have a temporary back in. At least I'm not whistling or anything. I did go to the shop. I did receive a gift from my shop. We'll share that when we go through what we picked up. Very nice of them. And I was able to read some stuff and reorganize here. I took the Golden Age stuff and put it away because there's not any real sunlight that comes in, but enough to where I definitely want to keep the golds away from anything.
And I want to recommend one of those shows that JD did recently, Golden Guys, just aired on Comic Core not too long ago. Was it just yesterday?
Yeah, last night.
Dude, that was awesome. That was so good. I highly recommend everyone to go back and watch it. So good.
I can't wait to see. I just to tell everybody, I have a list of people that want to be on the show that I'm ecstatic to even, I'm ecstatic I got the guys I got to go with on camera with DS Comics and Knights of Old.
Dude, the knowledge you guys were dropping constantly, it has so much replay value. It's ridiculous. Like, I saw it live, and I'm gonna watch it again. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, we're looking forward to doing more of stuff like that, and we're going to be doing a segment on what we see. It's not like a trends thing or anything else, but what we see selling in the communities and stuff like that, because we're constantly watching. That's one of the problems with Golden Age. You're constantly watching. But yes, thank you very much. That was a great Great show. Great.
Yeah, and I'm not even a huge Golden Age person. I don't know very much about it. I haven't had a chance to really dive much in, but it was very informative for me, understanding like how you figure out a price for a book when every resource that we use for modern or Silver Age even books doesn't apply. So it's fascinating. You guys should definitely, if you have time later, click in and watch that show. But we're going to dive into our reading list.
Yes.
Comic Spectre, you've been catching up on your reading. What is on the top of your list?
All right, so yeah, I read a few books. On the top of my list is the big one for me, which I've been really, really looking forward to, the War of Realms. And I kind of talked about this last week, where I have to wait now for my books a little bit longer because I'm getting them from Midtown. But I finally got it, and man, I tell you what, whew,
That's
awesome.
the Simonson cover?
Maybe.
That's the actual cover, yeah. What number did it say?
Well, this is issue 1. Like, I had to wait.
Oh, yeah, that's the first
Yep.
1A, 111.
Yep. But man, there's so much going on in this first issue. It's amazing. There's so much action. There's a lot of just really, really good dialogue all throughout. It was really cool seeing Thor get whisked away, and he's just fighting for his life, literally. And Malekith is there and all that, and I'm sure everybody's already read it, but man, I hadn't. So to me, it's like, woo! So this is my pick. This is my pick, definitely. But I did read some other titles, getting caught up. I read Green Lantern issue number 6, which this continues to be a really good read to me. I like the fact that the Lanterns are being like touted as like the police force, more or less, and they're Hal in this one was kind of being like an undercover cop, more or less. He was like in there with the bad guys, and at the end he ended up saving everybody, or I guess actually like the universe. So that was a good story. Punisher issue 10, dude. If you guys haven't been reading this, oh my gosh,
Yeah, it's great.
It's so savage, man. Like I started reading this, and I was just like, dude, this shit is just like straight off the chain, man. Like Punisher's got a tank, and he's just like wrecking everybody. These dudes have like handguns, and they're shooting at the tank. I'm like, oh my god.
They're like, stay for Hydra, stay for Hydra. He's like, no, F that.
No, we're out of here. Yeah, I was like, oh man, this is great. Close behind, I would say, War of the Realms, probably my second pick. It was probably close to 1, but Avengers No Road Home, man, this just keeps going deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole, and I'm just absolutely loving it. Like seriously, with you got Immortal Hulk in here, and they're trying. Yeah, and they're trying to get those stones, and like at the very end of this, I was just like, oh snap, man! Like, how are they going to even deal with Nixon in this next, in the next 2 issues? It's going to be pretty wild, I think.
Did you read the last issue today?
Actually, no. I have to wait until next week to get it. So yeah, I get a whole week, or not. It's not usually a whole week. Sometimes it'll come by Saturday. Like it's like hit or miss. So it'll be Saturday or like Monday usually at the latest. And then my last read was Uncanny X-Men, and this is the only X title that I'm actually reading, and I've been actually really enjoying it. Like this issue here, I thought was done really well. Man, like Cyclops and Wolverine, dude, they're killing it. Wolverine's pretty savage in this. He like nearly kills, I forget what her name is, Hope. Yeah, he like attacks Hope and nearly kills her. And then Cyclops nearly gets his head blown off. So pretty good issue.
Yeah, he's an actual Cyclops now.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, he is now. So, but yeah, those are my reads for this week. Awesome all around.
I'm definitely jealous of the War of the Worlds War of the Realms, because I admittedly have forced myself not to buy a single issue.
What?
I think I'm even convincing myself to skip the Venoms until Cates comes back. So I'm not going to get anything until maybe it's digital or whatever later and read it all later.
Not even like the main.
Nothing.
The main one is good. Oh, I'll get into it on my.
Yeah, you want to go next? You can go, JD.
Sure.
If you want.
Well, I did pick up well, first, my local comic shop knows I'm a big fan of two guys, an artist and a guy, and they handed me this, which is a Delato
Gelato.
variant. I don't know if it's I don't know. It says it's the sixth one. So sixth variant. I don't know if it's an incentive or what it is, but they said, hey, we had this for you a couple of weeks ago, and you didn't pick it up because you were at Planet, and we kept it for you. But I said, oh, well, I read it anyway. But then he goes, no, we want to give it to you as a thanks for doing the shout out I gave him on one of my local things I got with one of the local people.
Oh, hell yeah, that's awesome.
On their channel. Well, I will say this: War of the Realms 2. If you liked 1, 2 is even better.
Sweet.
I don't know if anybody else is reading War of the Realms out there, but
I am. I didn't get to, man.
I'm actually committed to getting the connecting covers. It's one of those things I like with Venomized. I really like the Bagley, and these are ones where 1 and 2 don't connect. You don't know, so you don't know how many it's going since it's going to October. Looks like it's a while. Again, War of the Realms is. This is 1 and 2. You don't have to read anything leading up to it. It doesn't hurt, but it doesn't really. I mean, I read Thor, so that's the main book you'd want to.
Well, and I've read some of the Jason Aaron Thor, so
you don't have to read it to understand it because it leads right into it's the characters that you know in their normal way.
Yeah, you can just jump right in.
Right, and the people that come back in this one, and if you like the Punisher. Punisher's in this number 2. So, and
oh man,
there's a great line that they say. I'm just gonna say right now. He's like, "This guy doesn't run out of iron." He goes, "I don't at all." And then he goes, "Funny seeing you here alive." And it was Wolverine. And he turns around. And he goes, "What's about that?" He goes, "I'll tell you after a beer." And they're killing everybody in sight. But it ends in a very dark way. I mean, Doctor Strange does his thing, and it's not the ending. Well, let's be honest. It's another surprise ending right there. Really looking forward to the next one here. Relay. I don't know if anybody watches my old shows. I talk about Relay. This issue number 5 finally came out by Zach Thompson. One of my favorite of the younger writers and everything else. And you might recognize the name. He does a lot of stuff. This was based on a Kate's short story, first few issues. And it is something that I love it. I do think this would be an incredible production to do as a movie at some point because it's just the way, maybe a movie or a mini series, just the way it reads. It's very action packed with characters that you really want to get to know, and it's typical Zach Thompson writing, which is very good. This is issue number 5. It's been out for a while. I mean, 5 just came out today, but it's been out. I mean, 5 issues since maybe about almost 8 months. So
yeah, I read 0 and 1, and read 0
Yeah.
and 1. Very interesting, and I think the same writer did Port of Earth.
Yes,
which I hear is going to turn into something. I really like that as well.
Yeah, he writes. His writing is not like where you actually care about the characters. You know, it's kind of. I mean,
like the world's more so.
Yeah, it's bigger than that. I also picked up. I caught up on Vader Dark Visions number 2 again. It's not a Vader story. It's stories about Vader and how people react to him. And this was pretty funny. If anybody read this, I hope anybody liked that one. That was pretty good. And just to shout out again, if you're not reading Criminal, I'm going to reiterate this. Read it. Enjoy it. It's worth it. And I reread issue 3 because somebody recommended on Twitter, read it again. And I read the inside of it here. And Hal Crane is probably one of my favorite. I would love to sit down with Hal Crane and get a beer and try not to get punched, but it's real good.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, but that's my.
There's no 4th issue coming for Criminal, right? It's done.
No, they're doing. No, they always do a 6-issue set. It's always 6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he always does 6 or 12 on these, and you know it's Ed Brubaker. So, I mean, talk about the writing I got to read. Dennis Hopeless, who is one of my favorite local guys who writes the Vader. Jason Aaron, Zach Thompson, and Ed Brubaker. That's like my favorite 4 active writers today, other than Al Ewing, obviously, for his work on Avengers. Which, by the way, I did not get that today because the shipment got all cut up. I mean, my local shop that I go to it's a smaller one. I have 3 other big ones in the area, but I choose to go to this one in particular. But Yeah, that's what I've been reading. Hope everybody likes it. I'm going to be bringing somebody on in a little bit. So
Sure. All right, that brings you up, Jason. What are you reading, brother?
Well, because of the new show on Comic Core on Monday called Story Comic Core, I read Why the Last Man, the first 10 issues, and it was awesome. It's first
You've never read it before?
Never read it before. Yeah.
Oh, so jealous.
Yeah. I liked it. I liked it a lot, and I'm very tempted to buy the second book, which is the next 10 issues. So, because I went through it all in like one day, so it's all pretty fresh in my mind, just to be in the chat and talk about it. But yeah, I enjoy Story Comic Core. They're gonna finish up, I believe, issues 6 through 10. So tune in on Monday and watch that. So that was a lot of fun participating in that. Today I read Batman 69. That Matina cover is amazing. Yeah, that Matina cover is so good. But yeah, Batman 69, I actually enjoyed it. I don't usually like Tom King Batman, and overall, for the most part, I liked it. The art was amazing. The art was beautiful. I'm gonna agree with Comic Kid 84. He said, he doesn't want to see his Batman dancing around in a ballroom, and I agree. Which is why I think, of course, Tomasi Detective Comics is the better Batman story to read. But Batman 69 kind of wraps up everything, the whole entire nightmares, and brings up a bunch of nonsense, some stuff I don't agree with, but I'm just excited to get the story finally moving and progressing. Justice League 22 continues to be awesome. Has the Monitor, Anti-Monitor, the Forger, and the relation and how the Source Wall came to be. So really cool. I highly recommend checking out Justice League. Also read Avengers No Road Home, the last one to finish it up. It finished up okay. Overall, it was an awesome weekly series. Came out on time. Beautiful artwork. Really engaging story, and it left the characters, kind of in their own different parts of the world. So Daredevil issue 4 was probably my pick of the week so far.
Very cool.
Yeah, Daredevil.
Is that
4
the cover
amazing.
where it's like Punisher?
The Punisher?
Yeah.
Dude, the last page in Daredevil 4, I was like, what? Like, I can't wait for issue 5. I'm so stoked. I'm probably gonna save that last page. It's like I look out of my phone, every now and then. Looking forward to reading Old Man Quill number 4. I'm really enjoying that. Looking forward to reading Guardians of the Galaxy, Thor, of course, all the War of Realms stuff. I'm going to be catching up on that. Infinity Watch, Wolverine number 3. They're still trying to finish that up.
Nice.
I'm definitely going to read Gideon Falls number 12, Little Bird issue 2, and that's probably it for the reads that I'm going to do this week.
I think Alec Whitewell would probably kick me off his channel if I hadn't picked this up today. So
Little Bird, what's that? Issue 2, right?
Issue 2, yeah, just dropped today.
I saw that in the shop.
A lot of cool people jumped into the chat, so I'm sorry if I didn't get everybody, but Lindsay's Geeked Out Knickknacks is in here. Mr. Gretzky is in here. Let's see. JP's Budget Collecting, Burke Nasty, Comics NYC. I said hello to you earlier. Catren Figures jumped in, and the Legend was in there for a little bit as well. So thank you, everybody, for supporting us. I did not read a terrible amount this week. I was telling Spectre before we got on that I've been rereading the Century run, the full thing, and then I was trying to finish the 2018 run as well.
Yep. The Lemire one. The Lemire one's really good. I mean, I enjoyed it.
And there, I don't know when the final issue comes up on the Unlimited, but that's the last one I need to read. It was not on there last week. I'm hoping it dropped onto there today. But I Got Issues really wants to do a show around the Century as maybe our second bosom buddies topic. So be on the watch for us to chat Century here soon. And then I had to catch up on Meet the Skrulls. That's what we're doing on book club tonight. So I have the first 3 issues. 3rd issue just dropped today, along with a reprint, I think second print of the first issue. So I snagged all those. For today, I got the New Middle West, of course. I'm still that and really enjoying that story. I'm giving Guardians of the Galaxy one last issue and hoping that it really draws me in, or I might just pass on that one from here on out. I've been really enjoying Old Man Quill, just like Old Man Hawkeye. I just absolutely think that universe is fascinating, and watching characters get in there. I still think the battle in issue 2 when they destroy the Wrecking Crew is just unbelievable. And then I snagged a Little Bird for Alec to keep him happy. Got to keep the boss man happy.
Indeed.
Somebody new has joined us. The great Legend is here, everybody.
What's
man,
up,
man, how you doing, sir? You got any rhymes for us tonight?
man? John, I'm doing fine, and it's a little past 9. My bad. I was fixing faucet sinks, and man, it really makes you think when you ain't done it in a while, putting all those pieces back together, man. It can be hell sometimes.
It is great to see you, legend. It is always awesome to have you. I tell you, you bring such an attitude of camaraderie and such a spirit of how it's done. I gotta say, it's just always such a great time to hear you and see you.
Well, man, I appreciate you, John. I try my best to impress and keep the fans entertained because, man, that's really all they need in the end. They could read a couple of books here and there, look at some artwork, collect some keys, or maybe even get a holy grail. But until you've opened up the book, only time will tell what stories you'll learn and what stories. Damn, Cat Ren figures. She broke my rhyme. I'm glad she showed up. I couldn't think of anything else to rhyme, but Cat Ren is here. Good to see
speaking
her.
of grails, did you see that Thanatos Holy Grail he got today? That 5.0 Showcase 22.
I was freaking loving it, man, because he's the only other guy I've ever known to have 2 of those. Now he's got 2 of them, man. Oh, man. So that is so cool, man. 5.0 and a 4.0. I told him like this. I said, buddy, you gotta kick that 4.0 to the curb, man. I know it may feel like cheating, because you got the 5.0 and you're cheating on the 4.0 with the 5.0, but now it's time to kick the 4.0 to the curb and make room for that 5.0 in the bedroom.
Which I do think he's sleeping with it. And I know he's got it down. So.
Right on the nightstand, man. That's it, Spectre. Man, let me just say, it's great to see my brother Comic Freaking Spectre. 500 subscribers, man. Make sure y'all hit this guy up, sub the man up. 500 subs. Holy hell, he's halfway there. C2E2 reminiscing. But man, big shout out to my guy. #. Now, John, you need to take the shirt off and hand it to Jason.
that's what Gone Too Soon is.
It is. Yeah.
Love me some Jason in the house. CM is here, and man, the golden guy, freaking, what was their name? Who was yours? It wasn't Blanche. Yeah, B. Arthur. Damn. So that's my daughter right there.
Yeah.
Oh, a lot of fun last night on Golden Guys. Man, how y'all doing tonight?
Good.
This has been great. We're having a great time here, man. We were going to talk a little bit, if you don't mind, a little bit about how this Disney streaming service is starting to appear. Ooh. And then Jason, he's going to break down a little bit about the Star Wars con he was at, give us some insight into what's going on there. So, Jason, what do you got for us on Star Wars?
Cool. Yes, Star Wars Celebration just happened. We had a lot of friends that were there. Chuckload of comics, did a lot of great videos, some live reporting. Comic Books NYC was there holding it down. And also trying to think who else. One of your friends, JD.
JP Budget Collecting.
That's it. JP Budget Collecting. He was there. He had some great footage as well. But yeah, Star Wars Celebration. Of course, everyone's seen the Star Wars 9 trailer, Rise of Skywalker. That looks dope. We'll talk about that later if we want to. The one I'm most excited about is The Mandalorian. I guess it takes place 5 years after
Favreau. Favreau is show running or directing that one, right?
That's right. Yeah, and it looks amazing, man. Like, did you guys see that leaked footage? There's like a little trailer, and then there's leaked footage. It's like 7 minutes long. I didn't see
any. I've been trying to keep away from most of that stuff. I did see the trailer for the new Star Wars film, but I did not see any Mandalorian stuff.
Dude, look it up. It's still on YouTube. It hasn't been taken down yet. So like, you got to watch it. It looks like classic Star Wars, like just all kinds of like little Easter eggs and like that little like eye thing that pops out of the door. Like, we got one of those. We got like walking trash bag guy, like, man, they're bringing it back, man. Like, I think all the classic like old heads of Star Wars is gonna love it. I'm super stoked for it. I guess it takes place 5 years after Return of the Jedi, so it's kind of like, a lot of stuff's destroyed, and it's almost kind of like the Nazis going to like Colombia or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, they're kind of hiding. There's like some Force or dark side people, Imperials, like kind of hiding out
in the corners of the galaxy.
Yeah, they're kind of like stretched out, and some are kind of like almost like I don't know, like for hire, like hitman and stuff too. I guess apparently also like Carl Weathers is going to be in there. I'm stoked to see Carl Weathers inside the Mandalorian.
Arrested Development alumni.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Billy Madison, or Happy Gilmore, I should say, actually.
Well, Happy Gilmore too, sure.
Yeah, it's also inside the Mandalorian like leak. It looked like IG-88, like the Hitman droid, but I guess apparently it's IG-11. But still, like he moved like crazy. He's like swerving, and like it looked amazing. I'm so hyped for the Mandalorian. All right, so I guess I'll move on from that because there's so much stuff. Clone Wars season 7 cartoon is happening. Star Wars Resistance season 2 cartoon. There's a Vader Immortal VR game, and that looks pretty cool. I guess you're like a force sensitive smuggler. And so you're captured by Vader to find something that he wants you to find for some reason. So, but like the footage looks pretty good. You know, the VR reaction. I'm not sure how good the VR games are really per se. I've played a few, and they're always kind of a little glitchy, but they're still working it out. But should be cool. One I'm really excited for though is Jedi Fallen Order.
That looks hot.
Yeah, dude.
I saw it.
You're like a Jedi Padawan who survived Order 66, and you're like in hiding. So so you're just kind of being chased like throughout the whole entire like game, pretty much. But yeah, that looks sick. The graphics are amazing in that. Also, Greg Pak and Phil Noto are taking over the Star Wars comic title.
I heard about that. That sounds exciting.
Definitely, Greg Pak's great, man. Tom Taylor is writing all the Age of Resistance books. They talked a little bit about Galaxy's Edge, the Star Wars land, and Disneyland, and Disney World. Also, I wanted to go over some comic book news real quick. Before we go back into the Star Wars Disney Plus stuff. With the DC app today, they showed a Swamp Thing teaser, so we actually see what Swamp Thing looks like, and he looks good to me, in my opinion. Also, Young Animal, it was canceled from DC, but they brought it back. DC is bringing back Young Animal from Gerard Way, so we're getting a new Doom Patrol comic from Gerard Way called Weight of the Worlds. And also his brother, Mikey Way, is writing a Young Animal book called Collapser. So that's going to be interesting. And then also I wanted to bring up another Young Animal title called Far Sector. And apparently the art's by Jamal Campbell, who I guess has been doing Naomi. And it deals with like a Green Lantern on like a far sector of the universe. So I guess we should be introduced to like a bunch of new characters, and that should be interesting. I'm actually really curious about that. Curse of the White Knight is coming out in July, and rumor has it there's going to be a Joker and Azrael team up. Of course, Lois Lane's getting her own book by Greg Rucka, Jimmy Olsen by Matt Fraction. Marvel's coming out with Acts of Evil in July. I guess, I think it's kind of based on like Acts of Vengeance, where like the villains are kind of switched, fighting certain heroes. And kind of weird because it's coming out around the same time as like the DC villains kind of big team up thing. So once again, they're always kind of doing a similar game at the same time. Fantastic Four, The Prodigal Son, is going to be a crossover with Guardians of the Galaxy and Silver Surfer. It's written by Peter David and involves a lot of like Khazar. So that should be interesting.
That's amazing. Hey, geez, you're really killing it, man. Look at all this.
Yeah, man.
This
almost
insane.
done. Yeah, almost done. So a lot of stats want almost done. Invisible Woman also is getting her own little mini 5 issues by Mark Waid. So that should be interesting. Wolverine vs. Blade is coming out. Punisher Kill Crew by Jerry Duggan and art by Juan Ferreira, who also did like I think Killmonger. So that should be pretty tight. And then I have like some Disney Plus stuff that we're going to be talking about later with JD. But yeah, so that's just some stuff. Sorry.
No, that was incredible, man. I didn't even catch half of that stuff just watching all the little videos I saw on different channels.
That was very informative.
NYC.
Thank you.
Yeah.
They didn't say anything about Savage Avengers.
Not that I know of. I mean,
Savage Avengers sounds interesting with the
with Punisher and Venom, and we heard about that a couple weeks ago.
Wolverine.
Yeah. I'm definitely gonna read that.
Yeah, I'm not. It's actually one of those I've been waiting to see how it works. Actually, how they're gonna have Conan talk to somebody who talks back.
I guess
Conan doesn't chop their heads off.
Yeah, he's in what is it? The dinosaur land.
Yeah.
Savage Lands.
He's in the Savage Lands right now at the end of
No Road Home.
Exactly. So it should be interesting to see how he gets from point A to point B.
Ain't no King Kid.
Man,
those are the good lands, aren't they?
Oh my God, yeah.
JD, you were going to tell us a little bit about what you heard for the Disney streaming service as well, right?
Yeah, I got on their shareholder call and was speaking. And, I got a little background from them. They kind of did an emergency thing about the streaming thing. And I know Netflix gone too soon. It's going there. But for the price, that $6.95 price, is good apparently for the first 2 years.
Wow.
They might even extend it depending on the subscription. Now, on there, I want to explain what you have. It's not just every Disney movie, including all the princess movies and everything for anybody with kids. You know, it's worth it for that. As well as you're also getting all the Marvel, all the Star Wars, all the Fox, Marvel Fox stuff. And then they talked about the Disney Plus, Disney ABC Studios stuff. So a lot of the old shows from back in the day will be on there. However, DC, with you subscribe to DC, you will also get the comics as well. Marvel's going to keep those two separate because they're
I figured that was probably a long shot.
Well, ones that was brought up saying they said what DC did, and they says, well, Marvel Comics is a wholly run subsidiary of Marvel Entertainment, which is a subsidiary of Disney. So that's why they're keeping it solely on and keeping it separate. Therefore, you don't have anybody at Disney making the decisions on the comics when they do the movies as well. But we'll see what goes on. You've got, the mouse is in charge. And to be honest with you, I think it's actually a subscription that I'm absolutely intrigued, and I will be canceling Netflix for that because there isn't much on Netflix for me other than what I've realized is how much Disney has, and they are the conglomerate, and they have everything that I really, it's enough for the kids and everything else. I'll still keep Amazon Prime, but when we're talking about streaming service and the capabilities of it, it's a go anywhere kind of a thing,
Did you hear anything on the rumor of Disney with Disney Plus and of course Hulu and ESPN Plus? I heard rumor maybe they might have a package deal with all three.
Correct. There is a discussion that the the original Time Warner entities owned by Disney, that was, for example, ESPN, will be offered in a package deal where you can buy the entire mouse run, they called it. That's what somebody called it on the phone. Will all be mouse entertainment would be included in all of it. And it's a moderate price. I mean, it's a little high because sports are much more expensive than TV shows. You have to pay everybody on the sports. It goes across the board. So you're talking your ESPN Plus and everything having to do with ESPN includes football, NFL, so they have to pay those rights. There is no guarantee that live broadcasting would be available on the Disney Plus. However, on the associated channels, there would be. It's just something for everybody to think about in the future. I do not. They have several launch dates planned, but the shows that they have planned, and I'm going to go over those really quickly, that are confirmed. These are actual confirmed shows. Winter Soldier and Falcon is confirmed with the actors that we currently have them. Sebastian Stan and Anthony Mackie have agreed, as well as the continuation of some of the shows that we thought were canceled. Cloak and Dagger is one of them. So they're working on doing a few other ones, as well as the what if scenario. The first one is going to be what if Peggy Carter took the super serum.
So pumped on the what if animated series.
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing.
Yeah,
I mean, the what ifs can range. I mean, I'm a big what if fan from the originals. What if, I know Legend's going to love the what if #1. What if Spider-Man joined the Fantastic Four?
That'd be good if they put that on there.
Yeah. Yep. I have pretty much all up to 25, and I will say that I read them. My favorite is what if the invaders survived, were gone after World War II, what would have happened? And pretty much there's no Avengers. But then there's the what if the disciple of Dormammu, Doctor Strange. So all those will probably be in the works, as well as there was another show. If anybody knows the other shows that they talked about.
You said Vision and the Scarlet Witch.
Vision and Scarlet Witch for the following year is confirmed. Now I
just want to know what they're basing it on. If it's going to be any of that old '80s miniseries stuff. If it's going to be any of that Tom King
4-star series, the 4-issue series. Yeah, I wonder what they're going to do with that as well because the material. But again, everything's a miniseries.
Yeah. It's like 6 episodes, right?
Yes, nothing's going to be that. Yeah. It's very expensive to do because they plan on literally making this as good as the movies. So that's consider Game of Thrones style.
I have a feeling that one's going to be like more of like a romantic kind of drama with them too, with maybe some, of course, like action that pushes it forward, the story along. Maybe we might see a Return of Ultron for a little bit or something. I don't know. You never know. But
and then they've got the Loki show. With the Loki was the one that I was most excited about because I like Loki. The other thing about the Loki is Loki after, before Infinity War, after when he rules Asgard, and what's going on during that time. So it's another 6-issue with Tom Hiddleston agreeing to play the role. So,
I hear it's rumored that it's going to be like a Loki's adventure through time as well.
correct. You're gonna have him go all the Loki stories.
I'd love to see more of Matt Damon performing.
Matt Damon.
So that's the Disney series. Now, if anybody else wants to add anything that they like, or go ahead.
Well, I guess day one is Mandalorian, right? We're going to have the Mandalorian. Do you know of any others that we're going to have for sure on day one?
Well, the Kathy Kennedy released today that Knights of the Old Republic is in the works. So again, nobody knows how they're going to do that, but there is that
HK-47 meat bag.
But you will have what you have. I mean, I imagine day one you're going to get all the old content,
right,
and some new content. But they plan on hitting it pretty hard. They're doing a big launch, promos. You're going to get everything's going to have like free for this length of time. Enjoy it. You can watch this. Some are downloadable. They talked about the download capability that you download to certain devices if you subscribe to a certain level of it. It's levels within level. It's Disney. They're not going to not find a way to make money.
Right.
Yeah.
No, for sure. They're going to have,
So I'm
also
excited about that. So
also heard there's a Hawkeye show, and it's going to have Kate Bishop. It's going to be mostly about Kate Bishop.
I heard, that rumor.
And I heard it might be about the Matt Fraction run, possibly.
Right. Well, that again, they talk about this stuff like this is what's going on. And there's no Jeremy Renner agreement to this, so they don't know what exactly they get. But the Hawkeye show would probably be the Kate Bishop. Maybe they'll have the dog eating the pizza. Everything with that, and that's a pretty good run.
I guess they're going to have 2 documentary shows as well. One's called Marvel's Hero Project, and another one's called 616.
Right.
So I'm very curious to see what those are mostly about.
And by the way, Pixar is included.
Oh, that's good. Yeah,
Pixar.
I would imagine, but that's good to know.
Illumination is not. Illumination Studios is waiting to come on board, not right away, because Illumination is not Pixar, but I'm sure they bought them already or they're working on it.
Okay.
Do you think we're going to see any crossover with the Hulu shows like Howard the Duck, MODOK, Hit Monkey, Dazzler, Offenders?
They won't be on. They won't. Well, somebody brought up about everything that's going to be appearing on the Hulu, and they said, well, they'll eventually come home to roost.
Oh, okay. That's kind of cool.
Nice.
Which maybe they might be airing and then re-airing on the Disney. And Disney Network Disney can buy Hulu, and they probably.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's what has been going on is they wanted to do something more to the shareholders. They really wanted to slap Netflix down while they could.
Right.
Because Disney did not cancel Daredevil. They didn't want to announce a cancellation. Netflix said, well, look what they did to us, so. But as far as content goes, I think there's going to be plenty for everybody to go through, and there's never enough.
I'm really hoping we see like all the old, of course, like X-Men, the Marvel X-Men stuff on there. That'd be really cool. The animated show, yeah, and also
all the animated shows that'd be great.
Yeah, and the Spider-Man stuff. Even the old live action shows. Put on like the old like. I guess like DC has the old Shazam show on there. I'll try. I really want to get DC online app just to watch the old Shazam show. So like, I don't know.
Slapped in the face.
The old Hulk, Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno.
Yeah, put on all that stuff on the app, man. I want to see like all the classic stuff, man.
So very cool.
I don't want to like cut us too short here, but we have kind of a big topic we wanted to get into. Some reasons why the Great Legend is here and some things he wants to talk about. I am going to be jumping off here in just a little bit because I've got to get over to the other show that I'm doing tonight with Alec. But I wanted to throw at least my 2 cents in and maybe get the ball rolling on some topics that mean a lot to this panel. I mean, when we joined up and started doing Unlimited, one of the things in our minds was, hey, we don't really have a big pull list. None of us. We are readers. We like books that are older. So in some cases, as old as they could possibly be. If you're talking about, JD, I I am a huge Silver Age person. That's like my era of collecting. And so for us, it was less about that hot new cover. In most cases, it was about the books that meant something to us as a read. And last night, or sorry, not last night, it was 2 nights ago with the Story Comic Core, it really drove home this idea of what Alec has been saying for a long time and what a lot of people like Legend have been saying for a long time, that we really want this sort of spec-free environment where it's less about getting that hot book and making somebody else buy that hot book and more about, hey, this book is really meaningful to me because it's badass, like the Punisher that Spectre was talking about earlier, because it meant something to me as a kid, like Thor has always meant to JD, or because it's just a damn good read like Alec and Little Bird, not because of anything else in the market or what's going on out in the world. Now, I know we have a market watch on our show where we talk about, hey, look, this book is like out of control. Don't buy it right now when we're talking about Immortal Hulk or something like that. Or when JD is saying, hey, you know, the Golden Age market is really rising. You better watch out. These books are getting really, really hot. So be careful. If you want to get a Golden Age book, maybe get it now versus later, those kind of things. But we're not doing this to speculate. We're really just trying to give you what we're noticing. When Spectre runs an auction and he's in there selling books, he sees the prices that people are buying. And it is something that he can use to then inform a lot of us. And when JD or Jason are out at these cons and they're able to say, hey, dude, I'm seeing everybody has these books. Don't buy them right now. Everybody's got them and everybody is selling. Why don't you wait? This book is going to go back down. This whole no spec thing. I will say, as somebody, I enjoy a good video and seeing what people tell me is hot or not hot. I enjoy seeing those things, but I don't rush out and buy those things. I use it as information. And I hope that most of our audience is savvy enough to do that. But we're really here to celebrate good story and celebrate good art and celebrate good writing, because those are the things that mean a lot to all of us. I don't think it's possible to ever be free of spec. This is a spec world. I remember picking up books when I was a kid and people telling me, oh, that's going to be a book that's worth something at some point. It's been there as long as I've known collecting in any form, baseball cards or whatever. But it does, and this is the point I think of the Story Comic Core, it does rob some of the joy.
A lot.
And I'm going to let these guys kind of run with that topic, but I just want them to know that I fully agree with wherever this conversation goes, because I do feel the same as a lot of you have talked, whether it's in this group of 4 gentlemen right here, or whether it's offline, people telling me a lot of the same things. I think there's a lot of frustration for this. And we really want to be more supportive of those people that are here to promote the things that we care and are passionate about. And I know JD's going to jump right off. I can already see him biting his microphone. He's ready to go.
I'm good. I'm not biting yet.
He's ready to go. So I'm going to listen for a little bit, but then I will specter away at some point here. But you guys take over here.
Nice drop
All
there.
right. So what we're going to talk about here is spec versus reality in what has happened into the YouTube community in general and our channels and other people's channels and what's going on. And I'm just going to shout out a few things right now. This was almost a 2-part series. Last week we brought on JP's Budget Collecting, who brought back what's called Look Back at the Top 10 6 months later. And some of it was in indication where he's just saying, hey, this was said it's a $40 book. Now it's down to 15. It could be a $9.98. It goes for 30. You know, he does such a great job, and definitely subscribe to JP Budgets Collecting if we get a look back on the CBSI Top 10. That being a website and everything else, but a couple of channels promote that. One of the things I'm going to talk about spec and what has happened is I've noticed more and more of everybody's videos have been like, man, I got caught up in that spec thing and it kind of hurt. It did hurt. What I have noticed is if you go to lottery, go into your local shop or whatever, your local gas station, whatever, you got to pick up a 6-pack or whatever you want to pick up, milk, juice, beer, and you go in there and you buy a scratch-off ticket. The guy behind the counter is not saying, I know this is the winner. This is the big one to buy this week. I would buy this, whatever, Win for Life scratch-off. This is the one you want to buy. And for those that are ill-informed or that don't necessarily know, or, you know, as we look at some of these channels as our friends and we look at them as our guides to what we do week in and week out. You know, there's a lot of shows that talk about the books of the week and what's coming out and what's going to be the hot book and the hot cover. The hot cover could be just a cover that looks real good. We're not saying that's it. But a show that turns around and says, I know this is the book that's going to go up no matter what. I'm going to be right. She's got nothing to lose. If it doesn't go up, it doesn't go up. The only one who has something to lose is you guys. And I'm going to stress this out. I'm not saying don't buy it. It's your own money. You can do what you want. But if you're sitting there buying a book based on somebody's opinion who's already bought 10 or 12 of these books, and they put them out a couple of weeks later on their channels, whatever they do, whether it be auctions, Instagram, Facebook, eBay, whatever they're doing, they've already hooked you guys in because they've got about 15 to 25 people watching this thing every hour that are saying, okay, well, this is going to be the hot book. I can't wait to get this one. It's got the first appearance of so-and-so in a red dress wearing a blue hat. It's a first appearance. It's not a first appearance. You know, it's what it is it's a spec. And I notice a lot of these apps and websites and things are talking about this. And a lot of us say, hey, man, I just read on this one. But what has happened this week was a great example. If anybody knows the Naomi story,
yeah.
right here. The Naomi story is fantastic. This is when Spec got a big punch in the face. Some guys a lot of people put out that on Action Comics 1000, a particular variant, I don't know if it was an incentive or a B cover or a local one or one of those store exclusives. I don't care. They said that's Naomi. Well, it took Bendis himself got on. Was it Bendis himself that said
it was. It was Bendis on
Bendis
Instagram.
Himself who said, I've heard a lot about this. Now, this happened following a week before Mr. Funny Shoes himself, Rob Liefeld, did the exact same thing, saying, this is not it. What's going on? We had a moment there for a 6-month span where if Donny Cates said, if his fart sounded like Silver Surfer books were going crazy. That's how crazy it got. When Donny Cates himself said, I never said anything about this. I don't understand what the big deal is. It's driving him, it's affecting him. When I was walking around a con, the dealers packed the shelves with nothing but spec books. And anybody who was in a con saw spec books all over the place. The number one book selling there was Immortal Hulks. Now, Immortal Hulks, it was a great series, and it's going really well, and people are like, I'd be buying more of those things. But you notice the number of sales. You see a lot of sales by dealers. They don't care. They're like me and probably a few other people that says, I paid $4 for this stupid thing, and now it's worth $60 a month later. Why am I keeping it? Let me put this towards something that I know I will cherish forever. And nobody can, some of these, you could be that guy who cherishes the Immortal Hulk. But I don't want anybody to sit there and say that it's time for us to look at this and as a reckoning on spec. Spec is not going to hurt the industry. It's only going to hurt you. The industry will survive. Comics have been dying since 1954. I've heard it 1,000 times. That was quoted in a great book, Criminal 3, that said that. And I was laughing because they said the same thing. Man, once 1954 was the SOTI. It was a specific thing he said. When people were burning comic books, it'll never come back. Well, sure as shit, Spider-Man came out. It happened. Fantastic Four came out, and that blew up, and it was bigger, better than ever. Then we had the crash of the 90s. Comic books was never going to come back. It came back roaring, flying colors, thanks a lot to the television and everything else. But if you're buying a book based on the fact that this guy is rumored to be an assistant villain in a movie coming up, let me give you an idea what an assistant villain is. Paste Pot Pete, okay? Nobody is going to say that Strange Tales 104 is going to be a key or a spec book. But the second you find out that the real bad guy in Avengers Endgame is Paste Pot Pete, that book's going to fly off the shelf for no reason. It's still Paste Pot Pete. I'm just going to leave this up. I'm going to shout out to everybody else. I'm just going to say one thing. Be careful. It's lottery ticket mania and that mentality that when people buy mystery boxes and they don't get what they want, they get upset. But we're saying, you know what you're getting. This guy is not going to throw in the Hulk Hogan. Now, unless you're the guy at the far left on my screen right now, which I shout that out right there as the find of finds. But spec is spec. And if you want to get involved in spec, go ahead. It's your own dime. It's your own money. You can do what you want with it. I myself have heard and I've seen a lot of guys buy multiple copies of the same book, and now they regret it because there's no reason to have 7 or 8 copies of an Image #1 if there are 2 million printed. They're not scarce. And anybody who tells you that this issue is this book that I've never heard of, there's only 100 printed, you have to buy one of these things, is saying that it's the next ash can of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles by Kevin Eastman. Well, it's probably not, because they only printed 100 for a reason, because that's all they could afford. And it's probably not going to be picked up by anybody soon.
And if you got 2 Showcase 22s, you're going to get your ass mugged by Sinestro. So Thanatos, you may want to sell one. Sorry.
So
Jay.
that's just my little preaching on spec right now. And I did a whole 3.5 minutes on that. So I'm going to let everybody else tell me what your thoughts on spec. And then let's get into the great legend as well. So tell me, Miss, explain what your thoughts on spec and what has happened to us, our little community here.
Dude, like, for me, like, it's fine. Like, I think it's okay. Not okay, but I mean, like, I respect people's hustle. I understand there's the business aspect to everything, to every hobby. Even with records, people buy like really expensive records because you can flip them around for like twice as much. And like record store day, you get like a hot press, and like everyone want to get this record, and it sold out. And like, guess what? Like that day, hours later, it's for like $500 on Discogs or like eBay. It's like, and then you can't get it, or you got to pay like out the ass to get it. So it's like, I understand the hustle, and I understand like same thing with like concert tickets. People will flip those to scalpers and stuff. Like, but that's not what I came here for. Like, I understand if you do that as a business thing, that's your own thing, sure. But like, don't get like mad if like people don't want to like push your hustle forward for you. I mean, that's just my view of it. But like for me, I didn't get into comics for spec, man. I went it because I like it. I love it. That's the reason I'd gone to music and records, is because I like it. So I just appreciate the stories, and I appreciate finding like-minded people to enjoy the stories or enjoy the art. And it's become a passion, man. I love it. I don't think there'll ever be a day where I don't buy comic books. But yeah, once again, I respect people's hustle. Do what you want to do, but don't get mad at others for not trying to push your own stuff.
Good call. Spectre?
Personally, myself, I'm fairly new back to collecting. Like, I just started near the end of last year, and right away, that was one of the main things that I noticed, was that there was just such a huge, just so much coverage on speculation in all aspects. It was like it was getting forced down your throat. There might be an appearance of like some elusive villain, or there might be like a secondary character that's going to make a big cameo, or all these things, and it would just drive prices like through the roof, like instantly. And so many channels and pages focus on this stuff so much that it's hard to be like, I don't know, like how we are here. We really just try to focus on the comics, the stories, the art, the things that really are about collecting. It makes it hard for people to focus on that when you're just constantly getting bombarded with all this extra sensory at that level, because it's just beating you down. Suddenly you're like, man, I got to get that new Hulk, because man, there's going to be Joe Bob Smith in there, and that's going to be a $75 book next week. And like you're saying, like, oh, I need to get 5 copies of that. And it's because everybody is doing it. It's just you're like, oh my God, I just got to do it. And it actually got to the point where I started like just not paying attention to a lot of the websites. I quit following like certain channels because it was ruining my experience coming back to, this hobby. And I feel that maybe it's the same way for many collectors as well. So to me, I understand, speculation, it's always going to be there. But with the way things are with media nowadays, and how it just takes a few people to throw it out there and it catches like wildfire, it can be really bad for the collectors. That's all I got.
Now I want to pass it over to my man with the truth.
Man, I tell you what, man, I totally,
great legend.
Man, thanks, JD. I totally agree with what all y'all are saying here on Unlimited. John, JD, Jason, and Spectre, man, Israel, y'all got the good stuff going on. But for me, when I got back into comic book collecting, it was around 2011, New 52. I hadn't been in it for a long time, but man, I was just sucked in to them freaking stories DC was putting out, man. And I've had a lot of good years. I want to tell Biggie Shaq's up in the house, but give some love to Biggie Shaq, everybody. One of the best, brother. But like, for me, it was awesome. I mean, I got back into collecting. People started watching my videos. I got invited to do a show, like a collab show, and then we were the first live show to use Google Hangouts. People, Google Hangouts was brand new. The whole YouTube Hangouts on air, totally brand new. We were the first ensemble to go live. Legend takes it a step further. You know, hey, this is all cool with the group, but man, this live stuff uploads instantaneously after you're done filming. So I went live solo, first one in the comic book community to go live solo. And now fans, everyone is going live now. Now, do I say, y'all people copying the Great Legend because I was the first? No, man, I ain't doing that, because the thing is, there's always going to be, you know, no one's ever the best. You know, there's always, you know, some people may call their channel the best in the world, but there's always going to be a comic, or there's always going to be a channel, or always going to be a person better than you, whether they have more books than you, whatever. But the thing about it is, and what I loved about Kat Wren, she set it up here before. Basically, she said, buy what you love, what you can afford, characters that speak to you. Don't follow trends. You'll end up with a lot of paper you don't care about and not be able to sell it for anything. And that is the truth. I mean, the thing about it is, YouTube was created for you to put yourself on the tube, aka the television, boob tube, TV, internet, whatever, streaming. It was made for you. So the thing is, you have the power to do what you want to do on YouTube. You don't have to listen to these gimmicks like the top 5s or the top 10s, or, oh, there's a movie coming out. You know what, people? You know there was a Shazam movie coming out. I knew there was some Shazam movie coming out 10 years ago when the Black Adam news on The Rock dropped, like the rock bottom in the center of the ring. I mean, I tell you, I knew all that. Plus, I'm just a huge Shazam kind of fan. So, you know, if you watch my channel, you'll know that portion. But yeah, so many of these things that other channels are doing to, you know, suck the new person in. Like, say, me and Israel, you know, we kind of just got back into collecting, and we started, and man, getting on board, it was like you're going to the candy shop again for the first time. You see the stuff, you smell that smell, you flip through the pages, and you're like, damn, this is awesome story. Whereas if you're not following spec or care about that stuff, you won't really even know what's going on as far as that kind of stuff goes, because you're just getting your stories, you know, picking your books. Like John said, this panel here doesn't pick up a lot of books on the pull list. Mainly they're reading old stuff. You know, they'll read some new stuff, and that's kind of like me. I'll read about 7 or 8 new books a month, but for the most part, I stick to reading the old stuff, or I'll read stuff on the DC Universe app. But one thing that's so important is, you know, especially for the new comic book collectors that come in, what happens is you have new comic book YouTube creators that are creating a lot of content out there, and they're creating content, and it's the same thing. It's like they're so excited to do the YouTube thing. You know, they just started their channels. They're making tons of videos every day, you know, just telling the world their passion and love for comic books and what they're into. But the thing is, a lot of times these newer channels, they'll start watching these channels, and these channels are telling them to go out. You need to get the first Immortal Hulks. You need to do this. You need to do that. Oh, there's a Fantastic Four and X-Men and Fox. They got bought up by Disney, so you got to get all the Fantastic Four books now. And, you know, are you even, let me ask you this. So, folks, are you even a Fantastic Four or X-Men fan? Or are you just buying them because you think they're going to be worth millions of dollars? So in the comic book community, the first half of my career, you know, 2011 up until 2015, I would say, it was awesome. Every time, you know, we'd get together and do collab stuff, it was always about the story. It was always about the art. You know, first appearances and that kind of stuff was good for your knowledge, you know, to kind of know what when the Thing's first appearance was, Fantastic Four #1, if you didn't know, November 1961. But I mean, like, you had your knowledge and you had all that stuff. But then around 2015, I noticed myself in the comic book community where it started being more like it reminded me of the 90s again. Oh, this book's going to make you this much money. This book's going to do this. This book's going to do that. And in the end, just like the 90s, a lot of times that news, that information you get from some of these new content creators is just not, it's not good news. But the thing about it is, it's all a learning experience. You know, some folks may have used to watch some channels and they got, you know, bit by the spec bug or the variant bugs or whatever. And hey, don't get me wrong, I still get me some Fantastic Four, sweet looking variants. They're beautiful. But like, you know what I mean? I think people put too much consideration, and they put their mind too much into what the book is going to be worth financially, more so than what the book can be worth to them if they read it or enjoyed the art and absorbed that story into their life so they can maybe tell their friends about it or whatnot. A lot of those books out there, sometimes people won't even read the books. They'll just get them to sell or whatever. So I'm hoping, and what was excellent about Alec, the natural Alec, the White Whale comic, what he did on the story time on Monday night on Comic Core, he was talking about no spec, none of this, because a lot of you in the chat, we're listening. We know that your channels, y'all don't like the spec stuff either, or you're getting a little tired of seeing it all over the place. And the cool thing about it is each one of you have your own YouTube channel. Get on YouTube. Let people know, hey, you're not really into the spec. You don't have a top 5 video or a mystery box to sell or whatever other kind of gimmicks are going on out there. But you've read a kick-ass story, and you need to get on and review that story, man. Tell the other comic book YouTubers, man, about the story. And pick up any book you want, man, like Munchkin 24. Freaking awesome cover. This may actually be a variant cover, but it's Art Baltazar. He does all those little tiny stuff. They're really good. But I mean, anything. I mean, the cool thing about Munchkin is it's not a first appearance, because the first appearance was on the card game. But I mean, the story is damn fun, and it's comedy and everything. So, instead of like making sure to see what books are, if they're going to be worth $1 million, why don't you stop, smell the roses? Don't worry about what other people are getting, and kind of start making decisions for yourself. Don't be one of the sheeple, be one of the shepherds. And that's what JD's trying to tell us, man.
Exactly. And that's one of the things about, the Comic Core made a commitment. We are no longer going to promote spec in any way, shape, or form. We are about the community and helping out the community whatsoever. And I want everybody to know that. I'm not saying don't jump on a spec book if it's on your pull list and stuff like that. Absolutely go right ahead. I mean, I'm a completist myself. I gotta have every Thor. I gotta have every Avengers, Defenders, Silver Surfer, Doctor Strange. So those are my books, But I'm not going to sit there and buy an X-Men because it's the first appearance of a guy wearing a blue hat or something. And that's exactly what has been coming on. I've noticed, there's an app out there that I subscribe to, and I'm more or less subscribed to now to be like, are you kidding me? But then they went back and did some old stuff. But that's what makes the app to me so good, is it tells me, hey, I read a Doctor Strange Steve Ditko book back in the day, and I was reading this on Marvel Unlimited or whatever it was. I was reading it because I didn't want to touch it. And I said, well, who is this guy over here? And I read it and I said, well, that's a pretty interesting story about that guy. Oh, he appears later on. Let me see what other books he's in. And sure enough, I found every one of them. And I was real excited that I was able to read them and enjoy it. So I'm not saying that the apps are bad or the channels are bad or anything else is bad. We're just saying that I want you to be cognizant if you do have one of those channels, or if you're out there having those channels, be cautious, because we're watching and we're making sure that we're not going to sit there and watch our friends and our compadres and our teammates and our guys sit there and say, man, I just bought 15 copies of that book. It's for $4 a piece. I'm real excited. I'm going to put it on eBay and sell it from $20, $35, $40 a piece. I mean, there was speculation about the first appearance of Null, Knox, everything. Was he in this book? Was he in that book? When the writers get involved and saying enough is enough, that's when I think even the community is like, man, this is going to hurt in the long run. And it might hurt yourselves in the wallet in the long run. And we always want you around to buy more books to keep this industry going, and to subscribe to everybody's channel and enjoy yourselves. And mystery boxes are fun too. I mean, like I saw DS Comics said, spec is a cheap way to get into possibly hitting a home run. You're right. But
we got good old Comics with Bueller in the chat. Bueller has a mystery box. He probably doesn't make a damn thing on him because he's so generous with his boxes.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're not talking about you, Bueller. I mean, everyone's done some top 10s before and all that kind of stuff. We're just talking about the books that these channels will push to try to, jack the market up or try to influence the market, right, JD?
Exactly. And you have a lot of these exclusive stores that used to be, they're out there, KRS, Scorpion, and whatnot, and everything else that sits there and says, hey, man, you've got to get both the trade dress and the Virgin variant.
Mm-hmm.
You're a character, go out and go get it.
Yep.
Go out and go get it. But if they're saying, hey, it's limited to 600. Well, you know what? That's not that few. If there are 1,000 subscribers to your channel and you say 600, you'll sell out quick. But some of them, they're hot and they're like, oh, they're going to be gone soon and then they're going to be available. Never again. You'll never see them again. Well, that's not true. You will see them again. You'll see them on eBay in about a week later on when everybody's going to try to make a quick 10%, 20%, 30%. So it's up to you how you want to handle your own collections. And that's exactly what you want to do. What I just kind of want to talk about the spec thing is we're not going to do it. And I apologize, but we will never talk about spec here. And we talked about Market Watch. And that's when it changed for me. When I noticed that somebody said, hey, man, I bought that book you told me. I said, I didn't tell you to buy a book. I just said it's crazy right now. I don't think you understood what I meant. I mean, that's crazy prices for some of these books. I mean, obviously everybody can see what has happened in 1 week with GSX1 with no explanation. No explanation. But I notice a lot of dealers selling. When I notice a lot of dealers selling, that gives you an eye-opening truth because they're usually the inside guys that turn around. Find out a presser that's a professional presser, not a T-shirt presser, but a real presser. If they are the ones in the know of what the hot book's going to be. I mean, there were rumors about this character, rumors about that character. They get them all the time. So just be cautious with what you want to do and do whatever you want to do. But if you do have one of those sites, be somewhat responsible for what you have, especially if you got a lot of viewers. If you shilling books, you're not helping the community. And we're about helping the community. And if you're not giving back to the community, you're taking from the community, and we don't want that either. So, with that, I want Israel to talk about an auction coming up where we're donating 25% of the proceeds to the Heroes Initiative on this channel here. So,
Yeah. So Saturday evening, what is the time going to be? Are we going to start it at 7 or 9?
I haven't found out from Carson yet, but it'll be Saturday evening.
Yes. So Saturday evening, we're going to have a panel of individuals. We're all going to be selling books, runs, slabs, everything that you can imagine we're going to have. And all proceeds that are earned from every individual on the panel, 25% is going to be cut right off the top of every single person for the entirety of the evening. And we're all going to funnel that straight to the Heroes Initiative. So what we're also going to do is we will actually have a link down below in the description directly to the actual pay link. So if you can't buy books, or you're like, ooh, these books are too expensive or whatnot, you can give $5 or $1, whatever you want to give, you can still give. So if it's one of those tight weeks for you, we're just trying to help out any way we can, and anybody else can too as well. So come join us Saturday evening. It's probably going to be starting between 7 and 9 p.m. We're still hammering out a few details, but we're going to have a panel of great people. I believe it's going to be like 6, correct? 5, 6 people. Right. And we're going to be going for a few hours. You can come and get some great books. It's going to be just a great night. It's going to be for a great cause, and I hope to see you there. What else do you have on it, JD?
Well, yeah, it's one of those things where we're going to, for example, I'll be throwing out a Death of Wolverine, the 1 through 4 set, but the first one is going to be signed by Herb Trimpe, Charles Soule, and everybody else who's no longer with us, gone too soon himself. We'll be out there, and I plan on donating 100% of that lot to the. I know it's 25% minimum across the board, but I might just do a lot out there for a guy that Herb Trimpe, who probably needed the Heroes Initiative a little bit more than others. So that's what's going on as well. We have a lot of good people on that auction right there, and that's one of the things that are going to continue with our auctions here. And I know that you will not see the panelists bidding in any way, shape, or form, and Legends rules coincide cross-channel. We're very proud to say the Legends truth the last time was real good. We are running a little bit long, but I just wanted to say thank you to everybody in the chat, and we do appreciate you guys. We try to do these shows. This was a little different when we do a community spotlight. We will do other community spotlights coming up, but our community spotlight today is a special thank you to Mr. Legend himself for speaking the truth about it from somebody who's seen the YouTube grow from the beginning, who can give us all advice. And I recommend everybody else talk to the man who's been around the longest, Flock. He might have the longest beard on this panel. Alex still got it win overall. But I will say this, the Legend is an advice guy who's, if it wasn't for him, a lot of us wouldn't be making channels. So
yeah, let me kind of carry on that real quick. I get a lot of messages privately of people coming to me saying this auction's doing this auction's doing that. And man, that's all fine and well. But really, if you have a problem with some of the other auctions, you're not down with some of the things they're doing, whether that be letting their panels bid on their own items, or maybe it's a solo auction where you can tell their dummy accounts bidding on the items. Let the host of those auctions know, so the host can, one, block these dummy accounts from bidding, and two, just kind of let their panel know that, hey, we've been getting a lot of buyers and bidders say they rather not see us bid on our own books. So, always talk to that person. Another thing that's been coming up a lot is folks trying to grow their channel, or they'll say, what do you think about some of the work I'm doing on my channel? And normally I'll ask those people, I'll say, well, are you trying to entertain people, or are you trying to just grow your channel by the numbers? And I always am a guy that, tells people, I said, hey, don't worry about the numbers. Don't worry about the views, worry about the subscribers that are watching your channel. So if you do a live show and you get 10 people, dude, 10 fucking, oh, sorry. I don't know if there's a cuss channel, but 10 people, that's double damn digits, man. Double freaking digits. And when I was doing this, and God, whatever year it was, 2012, I think is when they finally turned on Hangouts. I mean, I got 10. I was just like, Jesus. I actually got more than that because no one was going live back then. A bunch of the old fogies didn't know how to do the technology like all the young millennials. Now everyone's going live every goddamn day. So it kind of took that spark out of the live, because there's so many live shows, and no disrespect or anything, but for a guy that's been doing this gig for probably like overall entertaining people since I was 15 in drama, and then going all the way and playing guitar in front of the millions of fans around the world. I'm saying some of the hosts aren't as good, but that's all right, though. I mean, you keep practicing, you keep practicing, you keep practicing. You'll do like Macho Head 84. You'll be like the cream of the crop. It always rises to the top, man. But yeah, make sure you always keep in mind, the best part about YouTube, you use those sharing the passion, you sharing your love for whatever you're into, but don't worry so much about the numbers. Worry about the 36 people that are watching right now. And here's another really cool thing. GPAP told us this one time and made a comment about me, and I always, hold true to this. A lot of these channels, a lot of channels out there, man, they've been here less than a year. Some are over 10,000 subs, man. Some are over 5,000 subs. I mean, the growth is astronomical, because they're doing something right. So if you want to be like the big channels, and you want that fame and you want that fortune, you want a little bit of money or whatever that comes along with having a souped up channel. I call them mega channel, kind of like mega church. I call them mega channels. If you want to be like one of those channels, just kind of watch to see what they're doing, and if you think that's cool and it fits your fits your feelings, or fits on how you want to do some stuff, go right ahead and do some of that stuff, man. Maybe grow your channel. But the best part for me personally about YouTube, and this kind of goes with what GPAP said, I never said it, but a lot of these channels, there's one thing they don't have that the Great Legend has, and that's longevity and experience. And man, I wouldn't trade that for fucking 100,000 subs, quite honestly. I'd rather have the experience, the longevity, the patience, the perseverance to grow my channel. I like growing it slow, because I want to concentrate on the people in the chat. Now, for me, I actually pretty much know every one of my subscribers. I'll probably say I know 95% of about 4,800. I know about 95% of all of those channels that watch my content. Now, granted, some of them aren't watching, but that's all right. It's the people that watch your show day in and day out, the ones that you always see in the live chat, like Jason Smith, been with me for years. Mr. Gretzky 9966, been with me about 8-9 years. I mean, those are the ones you need to do the content for, because they're the ones that are taking. This is another thing I love about good old Israel, Comic Spectre. He thanks everyone. Every time you watch a Spectre video, he is thanking you from the bottom of his heart for taking that time out of your day, out of your night, away from the family, away from the kids, whatever you're doing, but you're taking that time to watch him. And as a person that does videos, and I do videos too, just like Spectre, man, and man, that touches our heart more than a damn super chat or a Patreon account or any kind of money coming in, you know. And no disrespect to the patrons or the the super chats, because I ain't gonna lie to you, I love me some super chats, and my damn grin goes from ear to ear when I get some of those, man. Thank you, Robert Galvin. Let me a little for Galvin there. But I mean, kind of just worry about the people that's in front of you, not the people down the line, but the people that's watching you this time. And when you can do that, and when you can see that pop into play, it'll make your day. And that's why the great legend is here to stay. Sorry.
That's very
good times.
Thank you very much, Legend. That's good stuff. Well, Jason, you got anything you want to add?
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to my homie Centauri Stir Fry. I've shouted him a couple times, but he's actually in the chat. He's here. So everyone sub up Centauri Stir Fry. Stoked to see him. He is hilarious if you ever catch his videos. He's super entertaining. One of my favorite channels to watch. He's got
unboxing on the
statues.
Airplane. He unboxed all that stuff on his airplane. His airplane has statues, and when the airplane's flying, the statues don't move. You check this guy out. Just there's shit ton of ink on those Marvel books, though. He'll let you know that.
Yeah, his hands are all like black. Yeah, he's hilarious. So sub up Centauri Stir Fry. He's got some awesome statue reviews, and he does giveaways like every week, man. The guy just gives his books away, He's great, man. So sub up that guy. He deserves way more attention than he gets. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I agree with that, man. His editing's top notch too. So Centauri, man, you got some diehard freaking fans in here.
Very cool. I just subbed him up, so real excited about that. Thanks for that. And that's one of the great things. We get guys that shout out new channels. I get new content to watch all day. So I want to thank everybody for joining us here on Unlimited, and be sure to check out the Comic Core. I think there's something might be going on Friday on the B team might be going on, and then you got
B team, go, B team. I can't remember the rest of it, but anyway.
And then we've got, of course, the Saturday auction we're going to do with Carson Woodard for benefiting with
Hero Initiative. 25% people, all proceeds. 25% off the top. I guess 25% of all proceeds off the top going to the Hero Initiative. So make sure you catch that auction. It's
one of those charities that Legend and I've talked about many times.
Mm-hmm.
It has helped out in many ways, and from George Perez himself, he did appreciate it. So
this comic book community raised $10,000 for the Hero Initiative. Strictly comics, man. Amen, man.
And shout out to those guys on Saturday, White Whale and I Got Issues, and everybody who donated.
Oh, that was a good auction.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a very good auction. They raised $6,000 for 3 fantastic charities as well. And that's what we're all about here. And that's where I want to end it right now. We're all about giving back to everybody. And we, whether it's an AOK, whether it's an auction that we're donating to charity, or whether it's just sharing some knowledge. The Comic Core is all givers, and we'll pushing the takers away. Well, thank you guys very much.
And I want that Fantastic Four 48. I want that Iron Man 55. Loki, I see Loki.
Man, you got a 9.4 48 Legend. Don't you lie to me. That's only an 8.0.
I do have that. And I bought it a long time ago before the spec news came out, because I just love all Fantastic Four books.
That's right. Those first 2 books is their 25th anniversary in my collection coming up. So.
Awesome.
So, there you go, fellas. Have a good one. Thank you guys very much for coming.
Good night.
Over. So talk to you guys.
Saturday.
Yep.
I guess.
Bye-bye.